Here are 5 ways to know your agency sucks. Now, if you're an agency and you're watching this, please don't hate me because actually I'm doing you a favor. I'm telling you 5 ways that your customers will probably work out that you suck. Now, if you do suck, that's not on me, that's on you. So, agencies, raise your game, do a great job, and make sure you deliver. Because if you don't, you give all of us a bad name. And there's plenty of people in marketing who give all of us in marketing a bad name. So, for those of you who are agencies, enjoy, make sure you get better. For those of you who are client side and using agencies, don't give up on agencies. There are good agencies out there. I work with loads of them. But here are 5 ways to know your agencies suck. First of all, I'm going to take a quick sip of my Pepsi to lubricate my throat. Refreshing. That's not an ad. I just happen to love Cherry Pepsi Max. If ever you need to buy me a drink, Cherry Pepsi Max or a lychee martini will do, depending on the time of day. So here are 5 ways to know your agency sucks. The first is task anxiety. If you have task anxiety, got to get that done for the agency, got to get this out, got to get that content created, got to do this, got to do that. It's not the agency's fault that you need to do stuff because you signed up to work with that agency and you should have known that in advance and you should have prepared that and been ready for it and therefore you can own it. However, if task anxiety has crept in after the deal's done, if everything was going to be easy and perfect and all of a sudden you find yourself being given loads of work by the agency, for me, that makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't like it when agencies give me work that I wasn't expecting. So yes, by all means, work is one thing. You know, you might have to produce some content that you agreed to as part of the plan when you signed up, or it's not a surprise and after the fact, you know, with the agency you agreed on a new campaign that was going to result in you having to do something to contribute to that campaign. Fair enough. But if you find yourself battling against a rising tide of task anxiety, I would say there's a problem there. It shouldn't be anxiety inducing. It should be manageable. They're the agency after all. They should be doing the heavy lifting. And you need to ask yourself why you're doing all that work. And is it work you need to outsource? It may not even be on them. It may be that you need to outsource that work to someone else. So you need to say to them, I need to outsource this. Or I thought this was included. Why am I doing this? Why are you throwing tasks at me? So that's the first way I think you could know if your agency sucks, or if the relationship sucks, or if the deal you agreed doesn't work, or in fact, if everything is perfect and you've still got task anxiety, it may just be your problem. But the reality is you've got to get that off your desk. You've got to get that out of your head. You don't need the anxiety. But my experience tells me most of the time when a client has task anxiety, the agency are pushing stuff at them. That's just my experience. That's what I know. The second way you can know your agency sucks is they give you an inferiority complex. Your agency shouldn't make you feel bad. Yes, they know more than you about marketing. Of course they do. They're a marketing agency. It's a given. When my plumber comes around to fix something, he knows more about plumbing. I don't feel inferior to him. I know I'm inferior to him. That's why I'm paying him. That's why I've called him. The same thing with my marketing agency. However, if they're giving me an inferiority complex, if they're making me feel more inferior, if they're compounding the reality of how much I need them, alarm bells are starting to go off. I don't need them to justify their existence by telling me I need them like a parent or a drug dealer. You know, on the contrary, if your agency is behaving that way, I would look at resetting that relationship because you're the client, you're paying them. Now, some people may take issue with this. I don't really care. After 20 years, this is how I feel about it. And I've experienced it with agencies myself directly. And I have had clients who've experienced this with other agencies, and we've had to repair that. And we have. Sometimes the agency doesn't realize what they're doing. Sometimes there's someone senior in the agency will win your business, and then the delivery of the business will be someone more junior. Sometimes it's totally accidental. But if you're getting task anxiety or an inferiority complex from your agency, you at least need to understand, is it intentional? Is it designed to make you more reliant on them? Or is it completely accidental? If your agency owns it when you ask them about it, If they take ownership of that and solve the problem, it's a good agency. If they push it back onto you, if you feel a bit of passive aggression, it's not good. That's time to really think about your relationship with the agency. Agencies, don't do that. Don't be that way. Own that problem. Solve the problem for your client. Help them grow their business. Don't be a part of their problem. Be a part of their solution. I'm not telling you anything you shouldn't know. Now, the third way you could know your agency sucks, and by the way, when I say your agency sucks, I mean the relationship. I don't mean the actual agency. I guess, there are accidents and situations in agency life where the intention might be great, but the delivery might not. The key is how agencies react. So if you call them out on something, how do they react? Are they putting your needs first or their needs? So the third is who's chasing who. I don't like it when I have to chase an agency. As a marketing consultant, I often bring agencies in. I work with agencies with various clients, and I never, ever want to chase the agency. Whoever is being paid does the chasing. Whoever is being paid does the chasing. It's not any other way around. It's literally that simple. If I'm bringing you onto my books as an agency to work with myself or a client, you are doing the chasing. It's your problem. It's your responsibility. So be proactive agencies. Absolutely. Be proactive as much as you can. Lead the client, help the client, whatever it takes. But if you, the client, the people that are paying are constantly chasing, there's a problem for me. The fourth way you can know your agency sucks, or your agency relationship sucks at the very least, is there's a lock-in. I'm always nervous about lock-ins. The only time I ever have a lock-in in any way is on my mastermind and my coaching. And that's because it's about building relationships. It's just not an overnight experience. And agencies will say it's often not an overnight experience with them too, but they're delivering something operational to deliver an immediate result in relation to campaigns and operational marketing activity and ROI. In masterminds and coaching, it's slightly different, of course, because we're explaining how to do things and people are doing it for themselves. It's not a done for you service. But on operational matters, whenever there's delivery involved, I really don't want to lock in. What I want to see are results. And what I want to see is an agency that knows their business enough to own the problem if there is one, or if the result doesn't come, to be proactive about it. Whenever I've had an issue with a client, I've always led on the front foot. I've always dealt with it and been straight up about that hasn't worked. Marketing is about figuring out what does and doesn't work, and not everything is guaranteed to work. So the lock-in for me, in my experience, can make people a little lazy. In my experience, that doesn't mean every agency with a lock-in is lazy, but I would ask yourself how you feel about it. And the final, fifth way to know your agency sucks is that ultimately it's a gut feel. Whose corner are they in? Are they in your corner or are they in their corner? When push comes to shove, are they going to fight for you or are they going to fight for them? Ultimately, it's that simple. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're an agency, does any of that resonate? How can you get better? And if you're a client using agencies, have you had any of these experiences? I'd love to know.